What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about something from the Jurassic World trilogy that takes paying attention to all three of the movies in order to fully understand, but it's something in the background of the trilogy's plot that I don't really hear too many people talking about, and it's also something that kind of alters a lot of Jurassic Park lore in a pretty interesting way. What I want to bring up is the timeline of events that actually led to dinosaurs being loose in the mainland, as well as what was going on with Isla Sorna, because they're kind of important to one another in a lot of weird ways. So we all know that after the end of the fifth movie, Fallen Kingdom, that dinosaurs had broken out and away from the islands, and that the idea going forward as that they were going to be loose in the mainland in the next movie. And while that somehow wasn't the primary focus of Dominion, we do see that the animals are out and about in a few locations around the world. But what I think is even more interesting than any of that is the fact that if we pay attention to what is said on screen in the Jurassic World movies, it looks like dinosaurs have been away from the islands actually for kind of a long time. Now, while Site B isn't brought up specifically by name in Jurassic World, we do see several male variants of the same species from earlier Jurassic Park sequels on display, or even with extensive information listed about them on Isla Nublar. So while that movie doesn't really go into too much detail, we can assume that they took dinosaurs from Site B and put them in the theme park, which is kind of what the purpose of Site B always was supposed to be if we go back to the Lost World. So there is a bit of an addition in lore when we get to Fallen Kingdom though, where Sorna is mentioned on screen by name, talking about the origins of Jurassic Park. Eli Mills specifically states at one point to Claire, before the islands, Sorna, Jurassic Park, Hammond and Lockwood built this lab in the custom sub-basement, and they later mention that Isla Nublar specifically is the location with the last living dinosaurs on the planet in a BBC News interview. Which means, yes, Site B exists, they say that in Fallen Kingdom, and as far as we know, it's empty, because the last living dinosaurs are on Nublar. So just by going off of what's in these films themselves, it looks like the dinosaurs were nearly all taken away from Sorna and put into Isla Nublar's theme park, with the exceptions of something else going down that isn't stated in the films. But things get even more interesting when you factor Dominion into the question, in which Ramsey Cole, Mamadou Athie's character, states that the first generation of dinosaurs that are currently in BioSyn Valley came from Isla Sorna. Now, this information would have to be something kept away from the public knowing about, because we didn't hear anything about it in Fallen Kingdom, but it did factually happen in universe. Dominion is canon, so the first generation of dinosaurs at the BioSyn Valley come from Isla Sorna. Now, we could also factor in Camp Cretaceous into this equation if we really wanted to, but honestly, all that does is tell us that other people stole dinosaurs from Site B and put them on a different island for the plot of that show, which is kind of bizarre, because essentially what Dominion is saying here is that BioSyn took dinosaurs, the male and female Tyrannosaurs from the Lost World even, they're in the movie, and dropped them off in the Dolomite Mountains of Italy sometime before the events of Fallen Kingdom without anyone even knowing about it. And if we add in additional lore from outside of the films, you don't have to, but to make things easy, they had to have done this way before the events of Jurassic World, and probably sometime in the 2000s if the actual internet website basis of lore is canon. It is, but you don't have to really follow that stuff. So basically, this means that not only have dinosaurs been outside of Site B and Nublar for that long period of time, but that BioSyn had control of them and didn't tell any of the public for years. I'm not so sure how they would be able to profit from that though, because if they try to sell any of these dinosaurs, it's kind of clear and obvious that they came from Isla Sorna, which last I checked was a sanctuary for dinosaurs that got set up at the end of the Lost World. Where else would dinosaurs come from? If they don't come from the theme park, there's literally only one other place. So Ramsey Cole is admitting to like a global crime BioSyn has committed several times in both the United States and Costa Rican governments. But anyways, the bigger issue I see here is that this both explains something from Jurassic Park's past, while also obfuscating and complicating a new issue that probably wasn't properly thought out before writing it, and that's what I kind of want to go into today as a fan. BioSyn always wanted dinosaurs from Jurassic Park. We see this as a legitimate plot in the original movie from 1993. But now we know that they eventually did get those dinosaurs some time ago and have been sitting on them in the valley for years. Of course, if they sold any of these animals, like I said, it's kind of obvious where they got them from, since not only is InGen the only company known to make dinosaurs outside of something like Manticore from Camp Cretaceous, but they also look like the variants that were on Site B. I mean, they literally have like the male and female T-Rex from the Lost World. Jurassic World's theme park had the male Parasaurolophus, and they've got images of the male raptors from JP3. So couple this along with the military presence on Site B, and it just gets kind of complicated and complex. And Ramsey Cole just flat out says it. This is not a fan theory. He's like, oh yeah, the first generation of dinosaurs, we got those from Site B. Nobody knew about it. It's like, yeah, I don't think they wanted to tell everybody that that's where they came from. So yeah, it looks like BioSyn did actually get those dinosaurs that they've been wanting all those years ago, and that they've been away from the islands. The dinosaurs have been off of the islands for several years. But I don't really understand, and this is the big thing, I don't understand how the company would have been able to capitalize off of that and not take a considerable loss by sheltering and feeding them for so long. I mean, the whole reason they want dinosaurs is so they can make money off of the dinosaurs. But keep in mind, this would have to be a secret since the public doesn't know about it in 2018 when Fallen Kingdom takes place, because everyone thinks Nublar is the last site known where dinosaurs live, including Owen, Claire, Lockwood, the United States government. So unless there's selling lots of new research they've done from studying the dinosaurs somehow that's being, conducted on them, and I don't really understand how, they would have to be losing like a lot of money to keep this operation quiet. Now I bring all this up because it comes directly from the Jurassic World movies, and it isn't really highlighted whatsoever at all. In fact, I think if someone isn't paying attention to the films, if they're just watching them casually, they wouldn't even understand that all of this was happening in the background. And again, that's not going off those websites, it's not going off of any book. This is in the movie. It's just like background exposition that they quickly gloss over. But what I really want to know is how all of this stuff happened. How was it kept quiet? And why doesn't anyone really go into detail about it at all? I mean, I know it's like a global crime and lore, but Ramsey's just like, oh yeah, we did that. Personally, I think this is a really strange piece of mysterious trivia that we should get some answers on in the future, specifically answers in a movie and not expanded material, because revealing that BioSyn has had Site B dinosaurs for years, Fallen Kingdom took place 5 years ago now, and I'd assume they got those dinosaurs way before that. That has to be some kind of interesting story. Like, how did that go down? How'd it happen? And how'd you keep it quiet? But anyways, guys, these are all just my own thoughts and opinions on the subject matter. I know that Site B in Isla Sorna is something that's long been on fans' minds for a very long time. It's been mentioned in the Jurassic World movies, but we always thought we would go there. We never did. They explained why, but even in the films themselves, that explanation is very interesting, and it's like, well, what's going on? I mean, all we know is they yanked the animals off the islands and put them on Nublar and BioSyn Valley, but hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions on all of this information happens to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens and InGen executives, as well as all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. You've all helped my channel immensely, and I'm incredibly grateful for all of that support. Now I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video and hope that you enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you all consider subscribing. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.